Marcus Kane drove into a blizzard he had no business surviving, toward a farmhouse he swore he would never see again, and found four strangers living in his dead parents' home. But the fresh bullet holes in the barn door told him they were not the only ones who knew he was coming. The wind howled across Montana like something alive and angry, tearing through the pines with a sound that could strip a man down to nothing but bone and regret. 20 below zero. Visibility measured in feet, not miles. The kind of cold that did not ask permission before it took what it wanted. Marcus kept both hands steady on the wheel, his eyes fixed on the white wall ahead, reading the road more from memory than sight. 12 years. 12 years since he had driven this stretch, and his body still remembered every turn, every dip, every place where the asphalt gave way to gravel and good intentions. Beside him in the passenger seat, Shadow sat perfectly still. The German Shepherd did not whine, did not shift, did not press his nose against the window like some eager pet. He simply watched. 7 years old, former military K-9, trained to detect threats most humans would never see coming, trained to stay calm when the world went to hell, trained to wait. They had that in common. The farmhouse rose out of the white like a ghost materializing from memory. Marcus had expected ruin. 12 years of Montana winters, 12 years of neglect, 12 years of nobody caring enough to fix what broke. He had expected rotted wood, shattered windows, a roof caved in under the weight of snow and time. He had not expected smoke. A thin gray line rose from the chimney, barely visible against the storm, but there, unmistakable. Someone had built a fire. Someone was home. Marcus killed the engine and sat in the sudden silence that follows the stopping of something loud and constant. The wind pressed against the truck like it wanted in. Shadow's ears swiveled forward, tracking sounds Marcus could not yet hear. The house looked different, not destroyed, not abandoned. Someone had patched the fence, reinforced the gate, cleared the snow from the porch. A dim light glowed through the front window, warm and steady, the kind of light that said people lived here, people who cared whether the glass stayed clean. For a moment, something in Marcus's chest tightened. Not anger, not yet. Something closer to confusion or maybe recognition. This place had been dead for 12 years. Now it breathed. He reached for the door handle. Shadow was already moving fluid and silent, slipping out into the cold the moment the door cracked open. No command needed. The dog understood what came next. Assess, secure, protect. The snow came up past Marcus's boots, fresh powder layering over older ice. Each step crunched loud enough to announce him, but the wind swallowed most of it. He moved toward the house the way he had once moved through villages overseas, aware of every angle, every shadow, every place something could hide. Shadow ranged ahead, not far, sweeping the perimeter in a pattern drilled into him through 1,000 training hours. Then the dog stopped, frozen mid-step, ears pinned back, hackles rising along his spine in a slow, deliberate line. Marcus went still. When Shadow stopped like that, you listened. The dog's eyes locked on the barn 40 feet to the left of the main house. Old structure, weathered gray wood, doors that used to hang crooked but now stood almost straight, like someone had cared enough to fix them. Marcus followed the dog's gaze and saw it. Fresh tire tracks, wide tread, heavy vehicle, SUV probably. The tracks led it from the road, circled the property, stopped near the barn, then continued back out toward the main road. Recent, within the last day, maybe less. The snow had not yet filled them in. Then he saw the boot prints. Multiple sets, 4, maybe 5 different treads. They approached the barn from the vehicle clustered near the doors, then retreated. Fast. The spacing suggested urgency. People who had not wanted to stay long. Shadow moved closer to the barn, his body language shifting into something Marcus recognized from deployments. Not aggressive. Alert. The kind of alert that meant danger had been here and might still be close. Marcus pulled his coat tighter and approached the barn doors. His hand found the latch. Unlocked. He swung the door open, slowly letting the hinges creak their warning. Inside, the barn smelled like hay and motor oil and something older, something that carried memory. His father's truck still sat in the corner covered in dust and cobwebs untouched for over a decade. Tools hung on the walls in the same places they had always hung. But near the back, stacked against the far wall, Marcus saw something new. Firewood. Split clean, stacked neat. Someone had been working here. Someone who knew what they were doing. Then he turned and saw the doors from the inside. 6 holes, bullet holes, punched through the old wood at chest height, clean and deliberate. Fresh splinters still clung to the edges. This had happened recently. Hours, not days. Shadow growled, low. The sound did not come from his throat, but deeper from somewhere in his chest. A sound that meant they were not alone. Marcus stepped back outside and looked toward the farmhouse. The light in the window flickered as someone moved past it. A shadow. Then another. More than one person inside. He crossed the distance to the front porch in 10 strides, boots heavy on the wooden steps his father had built 30 years ago. The boards still held. Someone had replaced the rotted ones. Marcus raised his hand and knocked. 3 times. Firm, but not aggressive. The kind of knock that said he had a right to be here. The door opened 6 inches. A woman's face appeared in the gap. Late 20s blonde hair pulled back, blue eyes wide, with something between fear and defiance. Her hand gripped the edge of the door like she was deciding whether to slam it shut. Behind her, another woman. Same age, same eyes, twins. The second one held a kitchen knife, not threatening, just ready. Marcus spoke first. His voice came out rough from hours of not using it. This is my property. Who are you? The woman with her hand on the door did not move. For a long moment, she just stared at him, reading him the way people do when they are trying to decide if running is smarter than talking. Please, she said finally. Her voice shook, but she steadied it. Please do not call the police. We thought it was abandoned. We have not taken anything. Marcus looked past her into the house. Clean floors. Furniture arranged like people lived here, not squatted. A fire burning in the stove. On the kitchen table, a jar of wildflowers, bright and incongruous against the Montana winter outside. We just fixed it up a little, the second woman added quickly. Just to live. That is all. Marcus pulled the folded documents from his jacket. Property deed, tax notices, final warning. 30 days to pay $47,000, or the county would auction this land to whoever wanted it most. He held them up where both women could see. This is my place, he repeated. So I will ask again, what are you doing here? The color drained from their faces. The one holding the door stepped back half a step. The one with the knife lowered it slowly like she had forgotten she was holding it. Wait, the first one said. Her voice cracked. We thought it was abandoned. We have been here 6 months. Nobody came. Nobody cared. We can explain, the second one said. Just please, do not call the police. Before Marcus could answer, footsteps thundered from somewhere deeper in the house. Small, fast, a child. A boy burst into the room, maybe 6 years old, holding a wooden rifle carved from a branch. He planted his feet in front of the 2 women and raised the toy like it mattered, like it could stop the world. Do not move, the boy shouted. You need to leave, right now. Marcus looked at the kid. The kid looked back, serious, determined, terrified. For the first time in longer than he could remember, Marcus felt something close to a smile trying to surface. He raised both hands slowly, palms out, surrender clear and deliberate. All right, Marcus said, dead serious. I surrender. Just do not shoot me before dinner. The boy's face scrunched up, considering this. Behind him, the second woman turned away, covering her mouth, but the sound escaped anyway. A laugh, quiet, unexpected, the kind that breaks tension like glass shattering. The first woman stepped forward and gently lowered the wooden rifle. Travis, it is okay. The boy hesitated, still watching Marcus like the verdict had not been decided. That is my son, the woman said, softer now, and this time there was no distance in her voice. just something raw. She took a breath. My name is Sophia. This is my sister Emma. The boy is Travis. He is 6. Marcus nodded once. Marcus Kane. Sophia's eyes flicked to the document still in his hand, then back to his face. We did not know anyone owned this place. The mail stopped coming years ago. The house was falling apart when we found it. We just needed somewhere to go. Another voice older came from the kitchen doorway. A woman in her late 60s stepped into view. Gray hair tied back, hands worn from decades of work. She carried herself with the kind of quiet dignity that comes from surviving things most people do not talk about. Eleanor Bennett, she said gently, but everyone calls me Grace. I have been here about 6 months. After my husband passed and I lost my place, I had nowhere to go. These two gave me a bed and a seat at the table. She did not say more than that. She did not need to. Marcus looked at each of them in turn. 2 women, a child, an elderly widow, living in his dead parents' house because they had nowhere else to be. Shadow padded through the still open door, silent as smoke. He moved past Marcus and sat near the boy, close enough to be noticed, far enough not to threaten. Travis looked down, uncertain, then slowly reached out. Shadow leaned in slightly. Patient, steady. The boy's hand touched the dog's head. Shadow did not move, just accepted it. Marcus watched this happen and felt something shift. Not anger, something else. Something he did not have a name for. All right, he said quietly. His voice carried the weight of a decision made. You can stay. For now. Sophia blinked. Emma lowered the knife the rest of the way. Grace's shoulders dropped half an inch. I have 30 days, Marcus continued, before the county takes this place, which means we have 30 days to figure something out. He paused, looked around the room, the fire, the clean floors, the care someone had put into keeping this place alive. You can stay, he said again, but not like this. No hiding, no guessing. We do this straight. Sophia did not answer immediately. Neither did Emma. But something in their posture changed. Not relief, not yet. Just the first suggestion that maybe they did not have to run. Marcus turned toward the door, then stopped. One more thing. You said people have been coming around. Emma nodded. Twice in the last month. Men in a black SUV. They told us to leave. Said the land was not ours. We thought they were lying, trying to scare us. Marcus thought about the tire tracks, the boot prints, the bullet holes. They came back last night, Emma added quietly. We heard the truck, heard them shouting outside, then gunshots. Into the barn. We stayed inside. They left after that. Marcus's jaw tightened. His hand curled into a fist, then released. Did you see them? One man, Sophia said. Older. 50, maybe. Expensive suit under a heavy coat. The others stayed in the vehicle. He did the talking. What did he say? That we were trespassing. That we needed to leave before things got worse. Marcus nodded slowly. That tracks with what he had found outside. Someone wanted this land, wanted it bad enough to fire warning shots in the middle of a blizzard. All right, he said, get some rest. We will talk more in the morning. But he did not rest. After the house went quiet, after Travis fell asleep on the couch and the women retreated to the back bedrooms, Marcus moved through the dark rooms like a man visiting graves. Everything looked smaller than he remembered. The kitchen where his mother had cooked. The living room where his father had sat reading maps and planning the spring planting. The hallway where Marcus had walked 1,000 times as a boy, never imagining he would leave and not come back for 12 years. He found himself standing in front of the door to his old room. He had not opened it yet, did not know if he wanted to. Inside that room lived a version of himself that felt like a stranger now. A kid who thought he understood the world. A kid who had not yet learned what it cost to survive it. Shadow sat beside him in the dark. Waiting. Always waiting. Marcus pushed the door open. The room looked frozen in time. Bed still made. Posters still on the walls. A baseball glove on the desk. Everything exactly as he had left it the day he enlisted. His parents had kept it this way. a shrine to a son who stopped coming home. He sat on the edge of the bed and felt the weight of 12 years settle onto his shoulders. 12 years of running, 12 years of convincing himself that moving forward meant never looking back. 12 years of being wrong. Shadow rested his head on Marcus's knee. The dog's eyes stayed open and alert, watching the doorway even as he offered comfort. Marcus ran his hand along the dog's head, the familiar weight and warmth grounding him in the present. "You are a good boy," he said quietly. You know that Shadow's tail moved once. Brief acknowledgement, then back to stillness. Marcus stood. Enough ghosts for one night. He needed to understand what he was dealing with. The barn, the bullet holes, the men who thought they could scare people off this land. He moved through the house to the back door, Shadow at his heels. Outside, the storm had eased slightly. Still cold, still brutal. But the wind had dropped enough to see more than 10 feet ahead. The barn doors stood open the way he had left them. Marcus stepped inside and pulled a small flashlight from his pocket. The beam cut through the darkness, illuminating dust motes and old memories. He moved to his father's truck. 12 years untouched. He opened the driver's side door. It creaked loud in the silence. Inside, everything looked preserved, like his father had just stepped out and would be back any moment. Marcus leaned across the seat, popped the glove compartment. Papers spilled out. Old registration, insurance cards expired a decade ago. A folded map of Montana with routes marked in pencil. And beneath it all, something else. A metal box. Small. Locked. He pulled it out, turned it over in his hands. No key. But the lock looked simple enough. Marcus found a screwdriver in his father's toolbox, wedged it into the lock mechanism and twisted. The lock popped. Inside documents, photographs, handwritten notes on yellow legal paper, his father's neat printing filling page after page. Marcus spread them across the truck's hood and started reading. Survey maps of the property, geological reports, soil samples, and then buried in the middle of the stack a letter, addressed to no one, dated 2 weeks before his parents died. If you are reading this, Marcus, I am already dead. Marcus's breath caught. They wanted the land. Hayes Mining Corporation. They made an offer. Big money. I refused. Your mother and I, we built this place. We were not selling to men who see dirt as dollars and people as problems in the way. Hayes came back 3 times. Each time more insistent. Each time with harder eyes. The last time he brought lawyers. Said they would find a way to take it, legal or otherwise. I told him no. 2 weeks later, this letter was written. 2 weeks after that, his parents drove off an icy road in the middle of the night and did not survive the crash. Marcus read the letter twice, then a third time. The words did not change. The implications stayed the same. His parents had not died in an accident. They had been killed, murdered for a piece of land someone else wanted more than they wanted witnesses. Shadow growled, low, not at the letter, at the doorway. Marcus turned. A figure stood in the barn entrance. Small. The boy, Travis. He held his wooden rifle again, but this time he was not pointing it at Marcus. He just stood there, shivering in pajamas, too thin for the cold. You should be asleep, Marcus said gently. Could not sleep, the boy replied. His voice was small but steady. I heard you come out here. Marcus folded the letter carefully and tucked it back into the box. He crouched down to the boy's level. You are not supposed to be out here in the cold, I know. Travis looked at the truck, at the papers spread across the hood. Are you leaving? The question hit Marcus harder than he expected. No, he said, not leaving. Travis studied him with eyes too serious for 6 years old. Promise. Marcus hesitated. Promises were dangerous things, easy to make, hard to keep. He had broken too many in his life already. But looking at this kid standing in the freezing barn in the middle of the night because he was scared of being abandoned again, Marcus found the words anyway. Yeah, he said, I promise. The boy nodded once, satisfied. Then he noticed Shadow sitting quietly in the corner. Can I pet him? Marcus looked at Shadow. The dog's tail moved once. Permission granted. Yeah, go ahead. Travis approached slowly, carefully, the way kids do when they are not sure if something is safe. He extended his hand. Shadow leaned forward and touched his nose to the boy's palm. Gentle, deliberate. The boy's face broke into a smile. The first real smile Marcus had seen since he arrived. He is soft. That is Shadow, Marcus said. He is a good dog. Used to work with soldiers. Like you, like me. Travis sat down on the barn floor, and Shadow lay beside him, letting the boy rest against his side. The cold seemed less sharp with the three of them there. Less lonely. Can I ask you something? The boy said after a long moment. Sure, are you going to make us leave? Marcus looked at the kid. Really looked. 6 years old. Old enough to know when adults were lying. Old enough to have been hurt by broken promises before. No, Marcus said. You can stay. All of you. Even if the bad men come back, Marcus felt something harden in his chest. Something that had been dormant for 12 years, but never really gone. The part of him that had been trained to stand between danger and the people who could not defend themselves. Especially if they come back, Marcus said quietly. Travis nodded. He leaned harder against Shadow, and the dog adjusted his position to support the boy's weight without complaint. After a minute, the boy spoke again, softer this time. My dad was a soldier too. Marcus went very still. Yeah, my mom says he was brave. He died before I was born. I am sorry, Marcus said. That is hard. Travis shrugged the way kids do when they are talking about something too big to understand. Mom says he would have liked me. I am sure he would have. The boy was quiet for another moment. Then he shifted and his sleeve rode up slightly. Marcus saw it before Travis could pull the fabric back down. A small mark on the boy's wrist. Not a birthmark. A tattoo. Faded but recognizable. The Navy SEAL trident. Marcus's world tilted. He knew that mark. Knew exactly what it meant. Knew only one reason a 6-year-old boy would have it. The same reason Marcus had it on his own shoulder. Family tradition. Legacy. A promise passed from father to son. Travis noticed Marcus staring. He pulled his sleeve down quickly, face flushing. Mom says I was not supposed to show people. Marcus's voice came out rough. Where did you get that? The boy looked down. My dad, before he died, Mom says he wanted me to have it, so I would know where I came from. What was your dad's name? Marcus asked, even though part of him already knew. Part of him had known the moment he saw Sophia's eyes, the way she looked at him when he first arrived, like she recognized something, like she had been waiting. Travis looked up. His name was Daniel. Daniel Kane. Did you know him? Marcus could not breathe, could not move. The barn spun around him and he was 26 again, standing in a forward operating base, holding a phone while someone on the other end told him his brother was dead. His little brother, the kid he had taught to throw a baseball, the kid he had argued with the last time they spoke, the kid he never apologized to, never fixed things with, never got another chance. Yeah, Marcus managed. I knew him. He was my brother. Travis's eyes went wide. That means you are my uncle. Marcus nodded, could not speak, just nodded. The boy scrambled to his feet. I have an uncle. I have to tell Mom. He ran toward the house wooden rifle forgotten in the barn. Shadow watched him go, then looked back at Marcus. The dog's expression did not change, but something in his eyes said he understood. Loss. Grief. The way it could hit you years later when you thought you were safe. Marcus sat in the barn for a long time after that, surrounded by his father's tools and his mother's memory, and the ghost of a brother who had died overseas while Marcus was too proud and too angry to pick up the phone. He had come back here to sell the land, pay the taxes, or let the county take it. Move on. Keep running. But that was before he knew. Before he understood that the last piece of his brother was living in this house, sleeping under this roof, carrying his name and his mark and his legacy forward into a future Daniel never got to see. Marcus stood slowly. His legs felt unsteady. He walked to the barn doors and looked out at the farmhouse. Lights still off, everyone asleep, unaware that everything had just changed. Shadow came to stand beside him. The dog leaned against Marcus's leg, solid, present, a reminder that some things stayed even when everything else fell apart. All right, Marcus said quietly to the dog, to the night to himself. We are not going anywhere. He meant it. For the first time in 12 years, he meant it. They walked back to the house together. Marcus locked the door behind them, checked the windows. Old habits, the kind that kept you alive when the world wanted you dead. In the morning they would talk. Sophia would explain. Emma would fill in the gaps. Grace would probably make breakfast and pretend everything was normal, while the world rearranged itself around them. But tonight, Marcus just needed to sit with the knowledge that he had family. Real family. Blood. The kind that did not run when things got hard. He settled into his father's old chair in the living room. Shadow curled up at his feet. Outside, the wind picked up again. The storm was not done yet. Not even close. But inside in this house his parents had built and his brother had loved and his nephew now called home, Marcus felt something he had not felt in 12 years. He felt like he had a reason to stay. Morning came cold and quiet, the kind of quiet that follows a storm when the world holds its breath before deciding what comes next. Marcus stood at the kitchen window, watching the sun struggle through gray clouds. Behind him he heard movement, soft footsteps, the smell of coffee brewing. Grace had risen early the way people of her generation always did, and as if staying in bed past dawn was admitting defeat. She moved around the kitchen with the efficiency of someone who had cooked in 100 different kitchens and made each one feel like home. She did not ask Marcus if he wanted coffee. She just poured a cup and set it on the table near him. "Thank you," Marcus said. Grace nodded, sat down across from him. For a long moment, neither spoke. Just two people drinking coffee while the house woke around them. "Travis told his mother," Grace said finally, "about who you are." Marcus took another sip, felt the heat of it. "Yeah, she has been worried all night, afraid you would be angry, afraid you would leave. I'm not leaving." Grace studied him with eyes that had seen too much life to be fooled by simple words. "Good. That boy needs family, more than he knows." Before Marcus could respond, Sophia appeared in the doorway. She looked like she had not slept. Eyes red, hair pulled back hastily, she held herself carefully like someone expecting a blow. "Can we talk?" she asked. Marcus nodded, stood. They moved to the living room, away from the kitchen, away from listening ears. Shadow followed Marcus and settled near the door. Watching, always watching. Sophia sat on the edge of the couch, her hands twisted together in her lap. "I should have told you right away. Last night, I should have said something." Marcus waited, let her find her words. "Daniel and I," she began. Her voice shook slightly, then steadied. "We were engaged. He proposed 3 weeks before his last deployment. We were going to get married when he came home." She stopped, swallowed hard, continued. "He shipped out. I found out I was pregnant 2 weeks later. I wrote him, told him he was so happy. He wrote back saying he would apply for leave, that we would get married as soon as he landed, that everything would be perfect." Her hands clenched tighter. "He died 6 weeks later. I got the letter from the Department of Defense the same day I got his last letter to me. In it, he talked about baby names, about the house we would buy, about how he could not wait to be a father." Tears slipped down her face. She did not wipe them away. "I tried to find you. After Travis was born, I knew Daniel had a brother. He talked about you sometimes, but he also said you two had not spoken in years, that there had been a fight, that things were broken between you." Marcus closed his eyes, remembered the last conversation, the anger, the accusations, words thrown like weapons because both of them were too young and too hurt to know better. "I did not know how to reach you," Sophia continued. "Did not know if you would even want to know about Travis. So I just raised him alone. Emma helped. We made it work." She finally looked up at Marcus, met his eyes. "I am sorry. I should have tried harder." Marcus shook his head slowly. No, I should have. I should have called Daniel. Should have fixed things. Should have been there. You did not know. That does not make it better. They sat in silence. Two people carrying guilt for things they could not change. Finally, Marcus spoke. His voice came out rougher than he intended. I want to know him. Travis, I want to be part of his life, if you will let me. Sophia's face crumpled. Fresh tears came, but these ones looked different. Lighter somehow. Yes, yes, he needs you. We all do. Emma appeared in the doorway then. She had been listening. Marcus could tell by the way she stood. She crossed the room and sat beside her sister. Took Sophia's hand. We have 30 days, Emma said, to save this place. So let us stop talking about the past and start figuring out the future. Marcus nodded. She was right. Grief could wait. Survival could not. They spent the morning making a plan. Grace had connections in town. People who might buy eggs, vegetables, preserves. Emma had a good head for numbers. She could manage accounts, track inventory. Sophia knew how to grow things, make things. The greenhouse could be restored. The garden expanded. Marcus would take whatever work he could find. Carpentry, repairs, hard labor. Anything that paid cash and did not ask too many questions about where he had been for the last 12 years. Travis, for his part, appointed himself head of security. He patrolled the property with his wooden rifle, shadow walking patiently beside him, occasionally correcting the boy's posture with a gentle nudge. The days blurred together. Work before dawn, work after dark. Every dollar counted. Every day brought them closer to the deadline and further from the amount they needed. But something else grew too. Something Marcus had not expected. Trust, belonging, the feeling of being part of something larger than himself. He and Emma worked side by side most days, repairing fence posts, clearing irrigation ditches, small tasks that somehow felt significant. They did not talk much at first, just worked. But the silence between them shifted from awkward to comfortable, from strangers to something else. One evening, as the sun set red and cold over the mountains, Emma spoke without looking at him. Why did you stay? Marcus drove another post into the frozen ground, tested its stability, because I was tired of running. From what everything? Myself mostly. She nodded like she understood. I know that feeling. They worked until full dark. Walking back to the house, their hands brushed once. Neither pulled away. Inside, Grace had dinner waiting. A simple meal, but hot and filling. They ate together around the table that had once belonged to Marcus's parents. Travis told stories about his day, wild exaggerations that made Grace smile and Sophia shake her head. Shadow lay beneath the table, resting his head on Marcus's boot. For the first time in longer than Marcus could measure, he felt something close to peace. Then came day 15. Marcus was in town picking up supplies when he saw the black SUV. It pulled into the hardware store parking lot, and 3 men got out. Big, well-dressed beneath heavy coats. The kind of men who got paid to intimidate and enjoy their work. Marcus kept his distance, watched. One of them stayed with the vehicle. The other 2 went inside. He waited 5 minutes, then followed. The men stood near the back, talking to the store owner. Marcus could not hear the words, but he could read the body language. The owner looked nervous, kept glancing toward the door. One of the men leaned close, said something quiet. The owner paled, nodded quickly. Marcus turned and left before they noticed him. But he took note of the license plate, ran it through a buddy who still had access to certain databases. The vehicle was registered to Hayes Mining Corporation. That evening, he told the others what he had seen. They are looking for us, Sophia said. Her voice stayed calm, but her hands shook slightly. Emma stood abruptly. Then we leave, tonight, before they find us, no, Marcus said. We are not running. Emma turned on him and, easy for you to say. You are a Navy SEAL. You know how to fight. We are just people trying to survive. Marcus met her eyes. So am I. The next morning it happened. Marcus was working near the barn when he heard the engine. Big, powerful, coming fast up the long driveway. Shadow's head snapped up. His ears went forward. A low rumble started in his chest. Everyone inside, Marcus said. Now. Sophia grabbed Travis. Emma helped Grace to her feet. They moved toward the house. Marcus stayed where he was, Shadow at his side. The black SUV skidded to a stop 20 feet away. 4 doors open. 4 men stepped out. The one from the driver's seat was older. 50, maybe 55. Expensive suit under a long wool coat. Face weathered but not from honest work. From decades of getting what he wanted and not caring how. He smiled, the kind of smile that had no warmth in it. You must be Marcus Kane. His voice carried easily across the cold air. I am Victor Hayes. Marcus said nothing, just watched, calculating distances, exits, angles. Victor gestured to the property. Nice place you have here. Your father loved this land. It is a shame what happened to him. Something in Marcus's chest went very still, very cold. What do you want? Marcus asked. Victor's smile widened. I want to make you an offer, a fair offer. $10,000 for the property. Cash. Today. You walk away clean. No debt, no problems, not interested. Victor sighed like he was disappointed but not surprised. I was afraid you would say that. See, the thing is, this land is worth considerably more than 10,000. There are resources here, valuable resources, resources that could make a man very wealthy. He took a step forward. Your father did not understand that. He thought dirt and family history mattered more than progress, more than prosperity. Another step. He was wrong, and his stubbornness cost him. Marcus's hands curled into fists. Say that again. Victor stopped. His smile slipped slightly. Something sharper showed beneath it. Your father made his choice. You do not have to make the same mistake. The front door of the house opened. Sophia stepped out onto the porch. Marcus tried to wave her back, but she ignored him. We are not selling, she called out. This is our home. Victor turned toward her, looked her up and down like she was livestock at auction. And who might you be? None of your business, Sophia said. Victor's expression changed. The false pleasantness dropped away entirely. He crossed the distance to the porch in 4 long strides, reached out, grabbed Sophia's wrist. Maybe I am talking to the wrong person, he said. Sophia tried to pull away. His grip tightened. Get your hands off her, Marcus said. His voice came out flat, dangerous. Victor ignored him, twisted Sophia's arm slightly. She cried out. Emma appeared in the doorway. Let her go. Or what? Then Travis ran out, a 6-year-old boy seeing his mother hurt and doing the only thing he knew how to do. He charged at Victor, small fists swinging. Travis, no. Sophia screamed. Victor turned, saw the boy coming, and backhanded him across the face. The child went down hard, hit the porch boards, and did not move for a second. When he did, blood ran from his split lip. Time stopped. Marcus saw it happen from 20 feet away. Saw the moment Victor's hand connected with his nephew's face. Saw the boy fall. Saw the blood. Something inside Marcus that had been locked down for 12 years, carefully controlled, deliberately buried, broke open. He moved. 8 seconds. That is how long it took. Victor's first man reached for a weapon. Marcus was already there. Disarmed him with a wrist lock that made bones grind. Elbow to the jaw. The man dropped. Second man tried to grab Marcus from behind. Knee to the solar plexus. Air left the man's lungs in a rush. Wrist control. Face to the frozen ground. Third man pulled a gun. Shadow moved faster. 90 pounds of German Shepherd launched through the air. Jaws closed on the man's wrist. The gun clattered to the ground. The man screamed. Marcus had Victor pinned before the man understood what was happening. One knee on his chest, one hand wrapped around his throat. Not choking, just holding, making a point. Touch them again, Marcus said quietly, calmly. You will not walk out of here. Victor's eyes went wide. the confident smile long gone. This was fear, raw and unmistakable. You have no idea who you are dealing with, Victor managed. Neither do you. Marcus leaned closer. His voice dropped to barely above a whisper, but every word carried weight. I am a man who spent 6 years overseas making sure people like you did not get what they wanted. I am very good at my job. So when I tell you to leave and never come back, you should listen. He released Victor. Stood. The man scrambled backward, trying to find his dignity and failing. You just made the worst mistake of your life, Victor said, trying to sound threatening, sounding scared instead. Leave. Now. Victor looked at his men, two on the ground groaning, one holding his bleeding wrist. He straightened his coat, got into the SUV. The others limped after him. You have 20 days left, Victor called through the open window. Clock is ticking. The SUV spun gravel as it left. Marcus stood in the driveway until the sound of the engine faded completely. Then he turned and ran to the porch. Travis sat up, held by his mother, blood on his face but eyes clear, angry more than hurt. I am okay, the boy said. I am okay, Mom. Sophia held him tighter, checked his mouth, his teeth, nothing broken, just a split lip that would heal. Marcus knelt beside them. I am sorry. I should have stopped him sooner. Travis looked at Marcus, looked at Shadow standing guard nearby, then smiled, a small, painful smile. That was so cool. You took down 3 guys, and Shadow got 1 too. Despite everything, Marcus almost laughed. Yeah, we make a good team. That night, after Travis fell asleep and Grace retreated to her room, Marcus sat with Sophia and Emma at the kitchen table. They will come back, Sophia said. I know. Emma leaned forward. So what do we do? Marcus looked at both of them. We figure out why they want this land so badly, and we use it against them. He went to the barn, retrieved the metal box, brought it back and spread the contents across the table. My father was a mining engineer, Marcus explained. Before he bought this property, he did geological surveys. He found something. He pulled out one of the survey maps, pointed to markings only someone with training would understand. Rare earth minerals, scattered deposits throughout the property, not huge, but valuable. Very valuable. How valuable, Emma asked. Hundreds of millions, Marcus said, maybe more. Sophia stared at the maps. Your father knew this. Yeah, he knew. And he refused to sell, said this land was for family, for legacy, not for corporations who saw dirt as dollars. So they killed him, Emma said quietly. Marcus nodded. I think so. The accident report was filed by a sheriff who retired 6 months later, bought a house in Florida, paid cash. He pulled out another document, a deed transfer attempt, dated 3 months after his parents died. They tried to claim the land was abandoned, tried to force a sale through unpaid taxes, but the county clerk blocked it, said there was an error on record. Me. That is why they waited, Sophia said. Why they let the taxes build up. They were hoping you would never come back. Marcus met her eyes, but I did. The next morning, Marcus made a phone call. An old friend from his SEAL days who had gone into federal law enforcement explained the situation, the maps, the suspicious death, the corporation trying to force a sale. His friend listened, asked questions, then went quiet for a long moment. Marcus, he said finally, you need to understand what you are poking. Hayes Mining is owned by Senator Richard Blackwell. Marcus felt something cold settle in his stomach. The senator, most powerful man in Montana, connections everywhere. DOJ, FBI, local law enforcement. If he wants that land, he has the resources to take it. So what do I do? His friend sighed. Officially nothing. You cannot win this fight. And unofficially, document everything. Record everything. Build a case so airtight that even Blackwell's connections cannot bury it. And watch your back. People who threaten his money tend to have accidents. Marcus hung up, sat in the silence of the barn. Shadow sat beside him watching. Patient. We are in trouble, Marcus said to the dog. Shadow's tail moved once, as if to say, when are we not? 3 days later, Grace went to town alone. She needed supplies, eggs to trade. Marcus offered to go with her, but she waved him off, said she had been taking care of herself longer than he had been alive. Shadow followed her anyway. Grace did not notice at first, only realized when she got to the general store and saw the German shepherd sitting near her truck, waiting. "You are supposed to stay home," she told him. Shadow did not move, just watched her with those alert brown eyes. "Fine, but stay out of trouble." Inside the store, Grace filled her basket, moved down the aisles with the careful efficiency of someone on a budget. Two men entered it while she was in the back. Big men. She recognized them from the SUV that had come to the farm. They did not see her, started talking to the store owner, loud enough that Grace could hear. "We are looking for information," one said, "about the people living on the Kane property." The owner shifted uncomfortably. "I do not know anything." "Come on now, old woman. Two younger women, a kid. They must come in here sometimes." Grace stayed very still, listening. "If you see them," one of the men continued, "you let us know. There is money in it for you." The owner did not answer, just nodded. Grace set her basket down quietly, moved toward the back exit, but one of the men noticed. Turned. "Hey, you." Grace kept walking. "I am talking to you." She pushed through the door, into the parking lot, heard boots behind her. Heavy, fast. "Where do you think you are going?" Grace's truck was 30 feet away. She walked faster. Her old legs protested, but she pushed them harder. A hand grabbed her shoulder, pulling her around. "We just want to talk," the man said, but his smile said otherwise. The second man circled around, blocked her path to the truck. "You live on that farm, do not you, with the others?" Grace said nothing. The man tightened his grip. "Answer the question." That is when Shadow moved. The dog had been lying beneath Grace's truck, invisible, waiting. The moment the man grabbed Grace, Shadow emerged. No warning bark, no growl, just instant motion. The dog positioned himself between Grace and the two men. His hackles rose along his spine in a slow, deliberate line. His ears pinned back flat against his skull, and a sound came from deep in his chest, not loud, but unmistakable. The sound of something that will attack if you take one more step. Both men froze. "Call off your dog," one said. Grace stepped back. Slowly, Shadow matched her movement, always between her and the threat. "He is not my dog," Grace said quietly, "but I would listen to him if I were you." One man reached for something in his coat. Shadow's lips pulled back. Teeth showed, white and sharp. The man stopped. Grace made it to her truck, opened the door. Shadow waited until she was inside before jumping up into the bed. He stood there, watching the men, daring them to try something. They did not. Grace drove away, hands shaking on the wheel. Shadow rode in the truck bed, alert, scanning, a soldier on guard duty. When they got back to the farm, Marcus took one look at Grace's face and knew something had happened. She told him. Every word, every detail. Marcus knelt beside Shadow. The dog sat calmly, like riding in a truck bed and facing down armed men was just another Tuesday. "Good boy," Marcus said. "You are such a good boy." Shadow's tail wagged once. That evening, as the sun set blood red over the mountains, Marcus gathered everyone in the living room. "Things are going to get worse," he said, "before they get better. These people want this land. They are willing to hurt us to get it. So we leave," Emma said. "We find somewhere else." "And what happens to the next people?" Marcus asked. "The next family that Victor decides is in his way. We run and someone else suffers." He looked around the room, at Sophia holding Travis, at Grace sitting straight-backed and stubborn, at Emma with fear and determination fighting for control of her face. "I cannot make you stay," Marcus continued. "This is not your fight. It is mine, my parents, my land, my responsibility. If you want to go, I understand. I will not think less of you. Sophia spoke first, her voice steady. We stay. Emma nodded. We stay. Grace smiled. Where else would we go? Travis raised his hand like he was in school. I vote we stay too. Marcus felt something tighten in his throat. Then we fight, all of us, together. That night he could not sleep, lay in his old bed staring at the ceiling, thinking about his parents, his brother, everyone who had died because of this land. Eventually he got up, moved to the window. Outside, Montana stretched dark and vast under a sky full of stars. Shadow padded into the room, sat beside Marcus. Two soldiers watching the night. We are going to finish this, Marcus said quietly. One way or another. Shadow leaned against his leg, solid, steady, a reminder that he was not alone. Somewhere in the distance, a coyote called. The wind answered, and in the farmhouse that 3 generations of Canes had called home, a family that had found each other by accident, prepared to defend what they had built from those who wanted to take it away. 20 days left. The clock kept ticking, but Marcus Kane was done running. Day 28 arrived with a blizzard that made the previous storms look like practice runs. The temperature dropped to 25 below. Wind screamed across the Montana wilderness like something furious and alive. Snow came sideways, thick enough to erase the world beyond 10 feet. Marcus stood at the kitchen window, watching white erase the landscape. Shadow sat beside him, ears forward, listening to sounds only he could hear. Something is coming, Marcus said quietly. The dog made a low sound. Agreement. Emma appeared beside him, handed him coffee. Their fingers brushed. A small thing, but lately those small things had started to mean something larger. How bad, she asked. Bad. Roads will be impassable by nightfall. We will be completely cut off. She looked at him, really looked. And if they come tonight, then we deal with it. Emma set her coffee down, put her hand over his. We are not soldiers, Marcus. We do not know how to fight like you do. You do not have to fight. You just have to trust me. She held his gaze for a long moment, then nodded. I do. Trust you. It was the first time either of them had said it out loud, the thing that had been growing between them since he arrived, the thing neither wanted to name because naming it made it real, and real things could be lost. Marcus turned his hand over, held hers. Whatever happens tonight, stay with Travis and Grace. Keep them safe. That is your job. What is yours? Making sure nobody gets past me. The day passed slowly. Marcus prepared, reinforced the doors with furniture, checked every window lock, mapped escape routes and fallback positions. Old habits, the kind drilled into you until they became instinct. Sophia watched him work, finally spoke. You think they are coming tonight? It was not a question. Yeah, how do you know? Because it is what I would do. Wait for the worst storm. Cut us off from help. No witnesses, no interruptions. She wrapped her arms around herself. I am scared. Marcus stopped what he was doing, looked at her. Good. Fear keeps you sharp. Just do not let it freeze you. Travis appeared in the doorway, wooden rifle in hand. Where do you want me, Uncle Marcus? The title still hit Marcus in the chest every time. Uncle Marcus. 2 words that meant he belonged to something again. 2 words that meant he could not fail. He knelt down to the boy's level. I need you to do something very important. Can you do that? Travis nodded seriously. I need you to stay with your mom and Aunt Emma and Miss Grace. If anything happens, if anyone gets into the house, you get them to the back bedroom. Lock the door. Do not open it for anyone except me or Shadow. Understand? What if someone says they are you, then you ask them something only I would know, like what you told me in the barn that first night. Travis thought about this, about his dad. Exactly, nobody else knows that, just you and me. Okay, I can do that. Marcus put his hand on the boy's shoulder. I know you can. You are brave. Just like your dad was. The boy's chest puffed up slightly. Then he ran off to take up his post. Grace had been cooking all afternoon, preparing food like she knew they might not get another chance for a while. She moved around the kitchen with practiced efficiency, humming something low and steady. Marcus recognized the tune. A hymn. His mother used to sing it. "My mother taught me that one," he said. Grace smiled. "I know. I heard her sing it many times. Your parents were good people, Marcus. They would be proud of what you are doing. I hope so." Grace set down her spoon, looked at him directly. "Before tonight gets complicated, I want to say something." "All right, thank you for letting us stay, for not throwing us out, for becoming the man this family needed. I did not do anything special." Grace shook her head. "You gave us hope. That is more special than you know." She went back to cooking. Marcus stood there for a moment, feeling the weight of her words. Then Shadow's head snapped up. His whole body went rigid. Marcus was at the window in two strides. Headlights coming up the long driveway. "Multiple vehicles. They are here," he said. Everyone moved. Sophia grabbed Travis. Emma helped Grace. They headed for the back bedroom like they had practiced. Shadow positioned himself at the hallway entrance. "Guardian?" Marcus went to the front door, did not open it, just waited. Engines cut off, doors opened, boots on frozen ground. 6 of them, maybe more. A voice called through the wind. "Marcus Kane, we need to talk. Victor Hayes." Marcus did not answer. Just listen, counting voices, estimating positions. "Come on now," Victor continued. "Do not make this harder than it needs to be. Just sign the papers. Walk away. Nobody gets hurt." Marcus checked his watch. 9:30 p.m., middle of the night, middle of a blizzard, 6 armed men. This was not a negotiation. This was a siege. "You have 10 seconds to leave my property," Marcus called back. "After that, you are trespassing." Victor laughed. "And what are you going to do about it?" "Call the sheriff. Phone lines are down. Roads are closed. Nobody is coming to help you." Marcus said nothing. Let the silence speak for him. "All right then," Victor said. "We will do this the hard way." A gunshot cracked through the night. A window exploded inward. Glass scattered across the living room floor. Shadow did not flinch, just shifted position. Ready. Marcus moved away from the door, headed for the hallway. Another window broke, then another. They were not trying to hit anyone, just scare them, create chaos. Marcus reached the bedroom. Everyone inside Emma nodded, her face pale but controlled. "Stay here, no matter what you hear. Do not open this door." He pulled the door closed, heard the lock engage. Then he and Shadow moved through the dark house like ghosts. Marcus knew every corner, every shadow, every board that creaked. This was his ground, his territory, and nobody took ground from a Navy SEAL without paying for it. The back door rattled, someone testing it. Marcus waited. Let them try. He had reinforced it that afternoon. It would hold. A crash from the front. They were breaking in. Marcus positioned himself at the corner where hallway met living room. Shadow beside him, low, silent, waiting for the command. The front door splintered inward. 2 men rushed through, big, armed, confident. They made it 3 steps before Marcus moved. He came from the side, low and fast, swept the first man's legs. The man went down hard. His weapon clattered away. Marcus had it before the man finished falling. The second man turned, too slow. Marcus was already there. The training came back like muscle memory. Pressure points, control, holds. Techniques designed to end threats without killing. The gun dropped. Sharp movements and the man folded. 8 seconds. 2 men down. No shots fired. Shadow growled. Warning, more coming. Marcus dragged both men to the side. Secured them with supplies he had prepared. By the time the next wave came, he was gone. Melted back into the shadows. Victor's voice from outside. "What is happening in there?" No answer from his men. 2 more entered, more cautious now, moving in formation. Trained. Marcus recognized the pattern. Military or former military. That changed things. He let them advance, let them reach the middle of the room. Then Shadow moved. The dog came from darkness, controlled aggression. He did not go for the kill, just the arm, the weapon. Teeth closed on a wrist and the gun fell. The man yelled. Marcus took the second one. Efficient, the kind of response drilled through thousands of hours of training. Control the threat, neutralize the danger. 30 seconds later, four men lay secured in Marcus's living room. Victor's voice again, closer now, angrier. Burn it. If they want to stay in there so bad, let them burn. Marcus's blood went cold. He moved to the window, saw one of Victor's men carrying something, a gas can. They were going to torch the house with everyone inside. Shadow sensed the shift. His body language changed. Marcus made a decision. He could not fight from inside if they were going to burn him out. He had to take the fight to them. Stay, he told Shadow. Guard. The dog whined, reluctant, but he obeyed. Marcus slipped out the back door, into the blizzard. The cold hit him like a fist, took his breath. He pushed through it, circled around the side of the house, low, using the storm as cover. He saw the man with the gas can, saw him splashing fuel against the side of the house, saw Victor standing back, watching. Marcus moved, silent, invisible in the swirling white. He took down the man with the gas can. Fast, efficient. The can spilled, fuel spread across the snow. Victor spun, saw Marcus. His expression shifted. You, he said. Me. The last two men with Victor pulled weapons. Marcus did not have cover, did not have backup, just had training and determination and a very clear understanding that if he failed, everyone he cared about died tonight. What happened next was not clean, not pretty. Both men were good, but Marcus had spent years staying alive in situations where good was not enough. You had to be better, faster, more. He put them down, breathing hard, snow and wind tearing at him, blood on his knuckles from the cold and the contact. Victor stood alone now, no weapon visible, no backup coming, just a man in an expensive coat realizing he had made a mistake. Marcus walked toward him, deliberate. Victor backed up. This is not over. You cannot win this. Senator Blackwell owns this state. He owns the judges, the police, everyone. Marcus kept walking. You are just one man, Victor said, voice rising. One man cannot fight the system. Marcus stopped 3 feet away, close enough to see the fear. Watch me, Marcus said quietly. Then headlights appeared, multiple sets, coming up the driveway, more vehicles. Victor's face showed relief. See, it is over. You are done. But the trucks that pulled up were not black SUVs. They were pickup trucks, farm trucks, town trucks, 15 of them, maybe 20. Doors opened. People stepped out. Men and women Marcus recognized from town. The farmer whose tractor he had fixed. The waitress whose car he had repaired. The old mechanic who had given him work. The family whose roof he had patched. They came with flashlights and determination. The kind that comes from watching outsiders threaten one of their own. The farmer stepped forward, big man, decades working Montana land. He looked at Victor, then at Marcus. You all right, son? Marcus nodded. Been better. We heard there might be trouble out here. Thought you might need some help. Victor found his voice. You are all making a mistake. This is none of your business. The waitress spoke up. He fixed my car when I could not pay. Did not ask for anything back. That makes it my business. The mechanic nodded. He worked 3 days on my shop. Would not take more than gas money. That makes it my business. One by one they spoke. Stories of Marcus helping, Marcus showing up, Marcus being the kind of neighbor you defended. Victor looked around, saw he was surrounded, outnumbered. Then sirens cut through the night, red and blue lights flashing through the snow. 2 vehicles, sheriff's department. An honest cop stepped out. Marcus recognized him from town, one of the few not on anyone's payroll. Victor Hayes, the sheriff said, "You are under arrest, trespassing, attempted arson, assault. That is just for starters." Victor's face went white. "Senator Blackwell will have your badge by morning." "Maybe, but tonight you are going to jail." Two deputies moved forward, cuffed Victor, read him his rights, loaded him into the car. Marcus watched it happen, still processing, still half expecting to wake up alone. But then Emma was there, running from the house. She hit him hard enough to make him stagger, wrapped her arms around him and held on. "You are an idiot," she said into his chest. "You could have died." Marcus put his arms around her. "Yeah, but I did not." She pulled back, looked up at him, tears on her face. "If you ever do something that stupid again, I will kill you myself." He almost smiled. Noted. She kissed him then, right there in the snow, in front of everyone. Kissed him like she had been wanting to for weeks, and finally stopped caring who saw. When they broke apart, Travis was standing there, grinning. "Does this mean you are going to marry Aunt Emma?" Marcus looked at Emma. Emma looked at Marcus. Eventually Marcus said, "If she will have me." Emma smiled through tears. "Yeah, I think I will." The days that followed felt strange, quiet in a way that made Marcus nervous. He kept waiting for the other shoe to drop, for Blackwell to make a move, for lawyers to show up with papers that made everything worse. Instead, the phone rang on the third day. His friend from the FBI. "We are coming to you," the friend said. "Federal jurisdiction. We have warrants. This thing is bigger than we thought." They arrived that afternoon, not local FBI, people from Washington. They came with questions and authority and a very specific interest in Senator Richard Blackwell. Marcus's friend pulled him aside while the others worked. "We have been building a case for 2 years," he said. "Environmental violations, bribery, illegal mining operations. But we could never get enough evidence to make charges stick." Blackwell was too careful. "What changed?" "You did. The documents you sent me, your father's survey maps, the timeline of his death and the attempted land grab. It was the missing piece. We could finally connect Blackwell directly to criminal activity. So what happens now?" "Now we take him down. All of it. The mining operation, the shell corporations, the bribed officials, everything. And the land. Your land. Free and clear. The county is dropping the back taxes as restitution. Something about manipulation of the assessment to force a sale." Marcus felt something loosen in his chest, something that had been tight for 12 years. "It is over." His friend smiled. "It is over." That night they had dinner together. All of them, Marcus and Sophia and Emma and Travis and Grace. The tension that had lived in the house for weeks finally gone, replaced by something lighter. Travis kept asking Marcus to tell the story of the fight. Each time the boy's version got more elaborate. By the fifth telling, Marcus had apparently taken down 12 men, while Shadow defeated an entire army. Grace laughed harder than Marcus had ever heard her laugh. Emma held his hand under the table. Sophia looked at her son with something close to peace in her eyes. Later, after everyone else had gone to bed, Marcus found himself on the porch. Emma came out, stood beside him. "What are you thinking?" she asked. "That this almost did not happen, that I almost kept running, that I would have missed all of this." She took his hand. "I am glad you stayed. Me too." They stood in comfortable silence. Then Emma spoke again, softer. "Sophia found something today, when she was going through Daniel's things. Letters. He wrote to you before he died. Never sent them." Marcus went still. "She thinks you should read them, when you are ready." Later that night, alone in his room, Marcus opened the box Sophia had left for him. Inside, a dozen letters, all addressed to him, all in Daniel's handwriting. He opened the first one, dated 6 months before Daniel died. "Brother, it started. I do not know if you will ever read this. I do not even know if I will send it. We have not talked in 3 years. And that is on both of us. We were both young, both stupid, both too proud to pick up the phone. But I need you to know something. I forgive you for not being there when Mom and Dad died, for the things we said, for all of it. And I hope wherever you are, you can forgive me too. I am going to be a father. Sophia is pregnant. We are getting married when I get back from this deployment, and I want you there. I want my brother to meet my son, to be his uncle, to be family again. So when I get home, I am going to find you, and we are going to fix this because life is too short and family is too important, and I miss my brother. Marcus read all 12 letters. Each one said similar things. Daniel reaching out, Daniel trying to fix what was broken, Daniel planning a future where they were family again, a future he never got to see. Marcus sat there for a long time, Shadow beside him. The dog rested his head on Marcus's knee, patient, understanding in the way dogs do. I am sorry, Marcus whispered. To his brother, to the empty room, to the years lost. I am so sorry. He let himself feel it then. All of it. The grief, the guilt, the waste of time and pride. Shadow stayed with him. A solid presence. A reminder that even in the darkest moments, you are not alone. 6 months passed. Spring came to Montana the way it always did. Slow, grudging, beautiful. The farmhouse had changed. New paint, repaired porch, the greenhouse fully restored, gardens planted, chickens in the coop, life everywhere. They had turned it into something more than a home, a haven, a place for people who needed it, an extra bedroom for travelers, a table always set, a door always open. Grace ran the kitchen. Sophia managed the gardens. Emma handled the business of keeping everything running. Travis went to school and came home full of stories. Shadow patrolled the property with the seriousness of someone who took his job personally. And Marcus worked the land, fixed things, built things, found purpose in sweat, in soil, and showing up every day. On a Saturday in May, under a sky so blue it hurt to look at it, they gathered in front of the farmhouse. Chairs set up in rows, wildflowers everywhere. Simple, perfect. A reverend from town stood at the front. He had known Marcus's parents, had married them 40 years ago in this same spot. We are gathered here today, he began. Marcus stood at the altar his friends had built from wood salvaged from the old barn. He wore his dress uniform, first time in 12 years. It still fit. Emma appeared at the end of the aisle, Sophia beside her, Grace in the front row already crying, Travis as ring bearer taking his job seriously, Shadow sitting at attention beside Marcus because family was family and the dog had earned his place. Emma wore a simple dress, white, her sister's veil, flowers in her hair. She looked beautiful and happy. She walked toward Marcus. Their eyes met. She smiled. When she reached him, the Reverend began. The ceremony was short, traditional, words about love and commitment and promises made. When it came time for vows, Marcus spoke first. I spent 12 years running, he said, from pain, from loss, from anything that felt like it could hurt me. And then I came home, found you, found family, found a reason to stay. He took her hand. I promised to never run again, to stand with you, fight for you, build a life with you, for as long as we both live. Emma's turn, her voice shook but held. I promise to trust you, to stand beside you, to build something beautiful out of all the broken pieces. Together. The Reverend smiled. Then by the power vested in me, I now pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss your bride. Marcus did. The crowd cheered. Travis jumped up and down. Shadow barked once. Grace wiped her eyes, and somewhere in the vast Montana sky, Marcus felt his parents watching. His brother, too. That night after the guests left and the house settled, Marcus stood on the porch, his wife beside him. The words still felt new. Emma leaned against him. Happy? Yeah, you very. They stood together, watching stars emerge, listening to the land breathe around them. Travis appeared in the doorway. Supposed to be asleep, Marcus said. Could not sleep. Too excited. Come here. The boy came out. Marcus picked him up, set him on the porch railing, Emma on one side, Marcus on the other, Shadow at their feet. Tell me about my dad, Travis said. What he was like. Marcus smiled. Thought about Daniel, the brother who became a man Marcus never got to know. The soldier, the father who never got to hold his son. He was brave, Marcus said, and stubborn, and he loved your mom very much. And he would have loved you more than anything in the world. Do you think he is watching? Yeah, I think he is. And I think he is proud. Travis thought about this, then smiled. Good. They sat together, a family built from loss and chance and the refusal to give up. Grace appeared with hot chocolate, passed cups around. Travis drank his too fast. Emma laughed. Marcus could not stop looking at her. Shadow settled at Marcus's feet with a contented sigh. The dog had softened, still alert, still ready, but learning that some moments you could rest. The stars wheeled overhead. The wind whispered through the pines. Somewhere in the distance, a coyote sang. Marcus Kane had came home to bury his past. Instead, he found his future. In the laughter of a nephew he never knew he had. In the love of a woman who taught him to trust again. In the loyalty of a being who became family. And in a home he never expected but would defend with everything he had. The land his father died protecting was no longer just property. It was home. It was legacy. It was proof that some things are worth fighting for. And as the night deepened and the family lingered, Marcus understood something his brother had written in those letters. Life is too short, and family is too important, and love is the only thing that survives us. Daniel had known that, had tried to tell him, and now finally Marcus understood. He pulled Emma closer, ruffled Travis's hair, smiled at Grace, rested his hand on Shadow's head. Thank you, he said quietly, to all of them, to the universe, to whatever force had brought them together. And in the silence that followed in the peace of a Montana night, Marcus Kane finally came home.